¿Qué tal, gente? Soy Lobito, bienvenidos a otro video en el canal, bienvenidos a otro video de Genshin Impact. Del día de hoy vamos a darle cierre por fin a la historia, no de Fontaine, porque ya la historia de Fontaine le dimos cierre en el stream que ocurrió el miércoles, pero sí vamos a darle cierre a la historia de Furina. Como pueden ver, ya tengo Furina, pero aún así no sabemos cómo es que de la nada ahora Furina tiene una visión, pero vamos a averiguarlo el día de hoy. Pero antes de comenzar con el video, no podemos iniciar sin antes tomarnos una rica y refrescante Fonta. Eso fue. Ok, creo que no le gustó la Fonta a la Furina. Ok, cuantos más moras mejor, sí, ya me cansé de fingir que no.
It's always a pleasure to see our two most avid adventurers again. Looking for the next challenge, I see.
Ahora, no entiendo por qué hemos venido acá.
Actually, we do in fact have a rather urgent commission that is still open. Having read the details, however, I don't believe you'd consider it to be...
Ok, amaneció... No, se hizo de noche de la nada.
Don't worry about that. We were just kidding. So what's the situation?
To put it simply, the requester is looking for a temporary replacement actress for their musical. The original cast member ran into some issues and is currently unable to perform the role.
Furina en corto, aquí es donde entro yo.
But the troupe has also been experiencing
Tengo
some financial
qué turbio lo que voy a decir, pero
difficulties.
Furina dice, tengo 500 años de
They cannot
experiencia.
afford to pay the replacement actress.
That does sound like a tricky situation. So basically they're looking for a volunteer?
Por favor, dime que va a aparecer detrás de nosotros y va a decir
Our adventurers reached out to
algo
many
como,
actresses,
aquí estoy,
but none of
por
them
quien
were willing to
esperaban,
take
algo
the
así, aquí
job.
está quien esperaban.
There are only a few days left until the performance. If they can't find someone in time, they'll probably have to postpone the show. And delays tend to create all sorts of new problems.
Got it. Oh, this one's a doozy. What do you think, Traveler? Any ideas? Even if we took the commission, neither of us have any experience starring in musicals.
If you're interested in helping, why not start by having a chat with the requester?
Mira este
She's
gordito.
right over there. Maybe you can't fill the role yourselves, but you
No,
might
para
be able
actuar
to
soy
help him
pésimo, de
figure out
verdad.
another solution. Maybe there's something he hasn't thought of.
Oh, it's that guy, huh? No wonder, he looks like he just ate a sour lemon.
Los subtítulos no tienen nada que ver con lo que acaba de decir Paimon. Paimon ha dicho que ese tipo tiene pinta de parecer un limón recontra agrio.
Are you the guy looking for a new actress?
Wait, I know you two. Are you really willing to act in my musical?
Wow, sounds like we're pretty famous in Fontaine already. But to answer your question, neither of us have any experience in musicals. But we heard that you're in a bit of a bind, so we figured we could at least try to help you think of a solution.
I
Necesitamos buscar una
It's
actriz.
okay. I knew that asking for a volunteer was a long shot. If we can't find someone to step in, we'll have no choice but to cancel the show. It would be such a shame. That's the thing. We're not some high-profile theater troupe, just a group of amateur enthusiasts. All our sets and props are very crude. We're grateful enough just to get an audience, never mind ticket fees. If we had a way to make this profitable, things might have turned out differently.
Disband? You're splitting up the troupe?
Oh, I guess the lady at the Adventurers Guild didn't tell you? Yeah. This is supposed to be our final show together as a troupe.
¿Tan mal les ha ido?
And after that, we go our separate ways. So we were really hoping to end on a high note.
Pero, o sea, si son un grupo que no es tan popular, porque nadie le va a importar, ¿no?, que sea su último show. Bueno, es mi opinión, ¿no? Es como comparar, ¿no?, que me digas que va a ser el último show de Slayer y luego venga y me vengan a decir que es el último show de Nickelback. O sea, no va a ser el mismo impacto, ¿no?
So she's in no state to perform. The show just won't be the same without her. But for everyone else's sake, I still hope we can find a way to hold the performance on schedule.
Got it. We have a clearer picture now. What if we sponsored the show? Traveler, how much more?
Pero necesito obviamente mi parte, porque si yo voy a invertir.
There's no need to go that far. I wouldn't feel right asking such a huge favor. And I can't promise
Este me tiene el
that we'd
peinado de
ever be able
Sasuke,
to
pero
pay you back.
pero en rubio. El dinero no es lo importante, mano. Si mi nombre va a aparecer en los créditos de esta obra, entonces es normal, estoy dispuesto a invertir. De repente hasta terminamos ganando.
We should find someone who will put on the best performance possible. Oh, wait! What about... you know who? That's how you know we're the best of partners. Anyway, she should have all the free time in the world right now.
Espero que estemos hablando de quien yo pienso que estamos hablando. Como ya digo, tiene 500 años de experiencia.
Sounds like someone famous. Her. You're... That was a joke, right?
Nope. Paimon doesn't actually know if she's performed on stage before, but Paimon's pretty confident that she'd be really good at it.
You're not wrong there. She has actually performed in a number of big-name shows before. They were one of the reasons she was so popular.
Ajá.
But even if she's no
Más de
longer the
180,000
Archon, it's not like she's
actos.
suddenly a commoner. She's still an idol to many people in Fontaine, including myself. I just think Lady FURINA might feel a bit out of place in an amateur troupe like ours.
Pero quieren que la obra siga adelante,
yes, but... Fair enough. I mean, if she was actually willing to, then of course I'd be honored to have Lady FURINA star in our show. I'm sure the rest of the troupe would be
¿no? No sé,
delighted
¿sería
too.
estresante trabajar con FURINA?
I'm sure everyone
Porque
in our
debe
troupe
tener
is
un ego
probably
demasiado
dreamt of
grande, ¿no?
performing on stage with her one day. Of
O sea,
course,
sí, lo sé.
it all depends on
Es
whether
una
she's
gran actriz,
interested.
pero se roba
She
todo el
might
show
consider this
prácticamente.
opportunity beneath her.
Bueno, tampoco es para menos, es una... Supuestamente dentro del lore es la mejor actriz que existe en Fontaine.
Besides, things are different now. There's no reason for her to be all high and mighty anymore.
Hace tiempo, hace 2 días que no la hemos
Thank you
visto.
for your help.
Hace solo
I guess
2
I'll just
días.
stay here and wait for the good news.
Bueno,
Good luck.
en el juego han pasado más días entonces. Eso es lo único que lo explica.
Live nowadays. She used to live in luxury at the Palais Mermonia, but she's moved out, right?
As it happens, I have her current address here. I can provide it to you.
¿Y por qué? ¿Por qué tienes tú la
When
dirección?
did you get here?
I came over when things were starting to sound more promising.
Es raro ver a Catherine fuera del gremio, de verdad.
My assistance is needed.
Es muy raro ver a Catherine fuera del
It is
gremio.
my duty
Ya
to
se me hacía
support
raro en
missionaries
Sumeru,
in any way I can.
pero ahí era porque estaba siendo controlada por
Thank you,
Naida.
ma'am.
Acá, no, acá
Thank
está
you
por su
so
cuenta.
much.
Well, now that we've got the address, we'll
Siempre me he
go
preguntado
over
por
it.
qué acá tiene la,
Jiffy.
una cerradura aquí, como si una llave entrara ahí. Muy bien, la pequeña Oceánida. O sea que FURINA es una Oceánida en secreto. A ver, ¿qué tiene que decir
I
este par
can't
de...?
believe they're seriously asking Lady FURINA. Seems a little over the top.
Try not to worry. May I pour you a glass of water?
¿No gusta pasar a tomar un vasito de agua? ¿No será mucha molestia? Ok, se agenció un muy buen departamento en mi opinión, ¿no? No está mal.
Did Catherine...
Aquí viene, ahí está.
She lives here? Not that there's anything wrong with this place. It's just, a bit of a step down from the
Oye,
Palais
pero al menos tiene
Mermonia.
un techo donde dormir,
You
¿no?
know, it's common courtesy to make sure the homeowner isn't in earshot when you're denigrating their abode.
Uf, man, está muy deprimida, se nota.
Okay,
Es su
when
tono
did
de...
popping out of thin air become all the rage? First Catherine and now you?
I was just out on a shopping trip. I ran out of macaroni, so I went to grab a few more bags.
Se nota
I
por su
used to
tono de
have
voz.
a much wider range of choices when it came to food. But now I'm finding that simple, traditional home cooking can be quite delicious too. Not at all. As long as you have different kinds of sauces in, you can have macaroni and tomato sauce one week, macaroni and bolognese the next.
Oh, sounds like you're really struggling to cope.
Bueno, es porque es cierto.
Questioning my cooking skills. The audacity. It's not
Pero,
like
entonces
I
invítanos a
have
comer, a ver,
very
pues.
eventful life these days. Actually, I barely leave the house. So I don't see how it's unusual that my meals are a little simpler now too. Besides, I'm sure I could master dishes like la lettre focalors or blubber profiteroles in no time, if I felt so inclined.
Ah, there it is. You don't know how to cook.
Not yet, maybe.
Paimon de
but-
verdad que se pasa. Qué falta de
Anyway,
respeto, Paimon, de
what
verdad.
are you even doing here?
Qué falta de respeto,
I do
Paimon
hope you didn't come
malcriada.
here just to ogle at my fall from grace. Let me first be clear that I'm not taking guests at this time. So if you're just here to clown around, then please be on your way.
Sorry, we're sorry. Please don't be mad.
¿Saben a qué me recuerda? Esos los actores que ya se han retirado y así viven una vida así.
The traveler said. Paimon wasn't trying to make fun of you.
Pero si yo no he dicho nada. Todas las ofensas las has hecho tú, Paimon.
Can't be holding back either.
En realidad hemos venido a pedirte ayuda con un asunto.
My help? Well, maybe you're forgetting that I'm no longer the mighty Hydro Archon. I don't even have a vision, you know.
Don't worry, it's nothing that serious. It's just very specific, and you're the one with the power to help.
Ah, y necesito aclarar algo, ya no hay un arconte. Neuvillette no es el arconte, ojo. Neuvillette es el soberano dragón hidro, pero no es el arconte. Técnicamente ahora los 7 ya no son los 7, son los 6.
Oh? Well, if that's the case, then fine. I'll spare you the lecture about your attitude just now. So tell me, what specifically makes this matter so specific?
Le cuentas a FURINA sobre la última actuación del grupo teatral.
I see. I knew you couldn't have come all this way just to amuse yourselves at my expense. After all, I was once the brightest star in all of
Ya está cambiando su tono.
well-versed
Ya está
in all
cambiando
the
su tono.
various performing arts. A mere musical is well within my
Creo que le hemos levantado el ánimo.
But given the present
No,
circumstances,
¿por qué?
I'm afraid I must regretfully decline your casting request.
No.
How come? It sounds like this would be a breeze for you.
True, but I have made a decision to retire from the stage.
Bueno, tienes un trauma, lo comprendo.
Although I am no longer required to play the role of the Hydro Archon, the time I spent inhabiting that character has left an indelible mark on me. Centuries of pretending to be a different person changes you completely. I'm not the same person I once was. Of course, that can't be undone now. It's too late, and I have no intention of reinventing myself all over again. But at least I can say that I no longer desire to play any new roles.
Necesitas un abrazo.
Paimon can understand, but this is just a one-off part to fill in for someone who's sick. Surely that's okay.
Whether it's a one-off or not, it's a boundary that I've committed to no longer cross. If I make an exception to the rule now, I'm just leaving a back door for myself, which would be the same as not having a boundary in the first place. So I'm not going to perform, and that is that.
Okay, guess there's no convincing you. Well, is there anything else we can do to help out the troupe? Otherwise, they'll just have to disband without any fanfare. Do you know any other actors who might be interested in the role?
A ver, bueno, al menos conoce a alguien. ¿A nadie, en serio?
Short and to the point. Okay.
I've never been great at maintaining relationships. Besides, anyone I've ever worked with probably couldn't wait to get rid of me. Since I'm just an ordinary person now, they'll probably just laugh in my face if I go asking them for help.
Y no deberías pensar lo peor de la
True,
gente.
but I mean, could you even blame them? I show up out of the blue, begging and groveling for their help with a show they won't even get paid for? Ooh, no way. I'm dying from embarrassment just thinking about it. Nope, not happening.
Well, is there anything else we can do? This performance really means a lot to the guy we're working for.
Have I not made myself
Gili
clear?
churro.
You're barking up the wrong
Alguien
tree.
traiga él a Mosca
I
acá
don't
ahorita.
want this job, nor do I know of anyone else who would. Sorry. I didn't mean for that to sound so harsh. I wish I could
Tranquila,
help, really.
yo te entiendo, Furina.
But if
500
I thought I
años, yo
had the
comprendo.
answer to this problem,
Más
I
de
would have said
180,000
so by now.
actos.
It's all right, Furina. Paimon just wanted to make sure we tried everything. Oh, everyone in the troupe will be so disappointed. Yeah, I guess that's all we can do now. All right then, we'll see you around, Furina.
Toodaloo to you too.
Chiruldu.
I'm going home to take a rest now.
Bueno, descansa, Furina. Lo siento, no debí incomodarte. Pero ahora ya sabemos dónde está su casa.
It's too bad, but we have to respect FURINA's decision. Maybe the thought of performing brings up too many painful memories now.
Exacto, tú lo has dicho, Paimon. Oh, ¿quién es esa?
Huh? What's going on? Are they arguing?
That's besides the point. I'll ask you again. Why did you start looking for a replacement without my consent? When did I tell you I'm going to take a step back?
You didn't need to say it. We've known each other for how long now? We know the signs. But you never tell us about your illness, even when it's clearly flaring up.
And that gives you the right to make a decision on my
Ella está
behalf?
enferma y este men ha asumido que no iba a actuar. Ok, eso también es un golpe muy
Shortly
bajo.
after you left, the troop's lead actress came to the Adventurers Guild. She believes that she's healthy enough to perform. Excuse me, but can you both take a moment to discuss something else for now? The adventurer assigned to your commission has returned.
Sorry, I was just dealing with a little misunderstanding. So, how did your conversation with FURINA go?
Bueno, llegamos a la conclusión de que necesita terapia.
Sadly, it's a no from her. We tried to persuade her, but she wasn't having it. She doesn't want to play the role for personal reasons.
I see. Well, circumstances have changed a little, so maybe that's not such bad news after all. You see, our leading lady has just informed me that she's well enough to make it to the show after all. Staging the musical with the full original cast was always the dream, of course.
Oh, right. Sounds like everything worked itself out then.
Imagínate, hubiera sido peor, se hubiera sentido
Yeah, she'd
mucho
be
más
livid.
mal, ¿no?
We'd get the scolding of a lifetime.
Jeez, is Lady FURINA really so harsh with people?
Only joking. Calm down. So, guess we can consider this case closed now, huh? Despite the fact that we failed to complete the commission, we were still racking our brains for ideas on the way back here.
Look, there's no point arguing with you about this anymore. You've made yourself very clear, so I'll stop looking for a replacement. This is the last chance we have, though. If your illness flares up again, there won't be time to find anyone to replace you. So,
Le va a dar un infarto,
are you
plena
absolutely
actuación.
sure you'll be able to handle it? The whole team is putting everything they have into this final performance.
Estás metiéndole
We have
más
to make
presión,
sure
men,
it
al
goes
decirle
ahead.
esto.
Yes, I'm completely confident. I've been taking a new medication from the doctor, and it's working
Del
brilliantly.
doctor, ten
I'll
cuidado con qué
definitely be
doctor,
able to
algunos
tough
son
it out until the performance day.
algunos son parte de los fatuis.
I share everyone's desire to commemorate
Parte de
all
los-
our years as
de
a
los
troupe
11.
with a proper farewell show. So the last thing I want is to be left out. Every one of us thinks of this troupe as their home, myself included.
You're right. I'm sorry. I let myself get too worried about the show. I should have asked for your permission first.
Exacto, también no te puedes mandar así con todo.
Well, sounds like the show will go on.
A ver, un momento, Paimon.
Sure.
¡Ey! Miren a quién encontramos acá.
Hey, how did you... I was just passing by.
Nos
because
seguiste.
I realized I forgot a couple of items on
Esa
my
cara.
shopping list. All right, I'm coming. No need to drag me. Hello, one and all. I couldn't help but overhear your conversation just now.
FURINA? Didn't you say you were gonna take a rest at home? What are you doing here?
I was just ever so slightly concerned about the situation you mentioned. Yes, a
Sí,
teensy
un
bit
poquito nada
concerned.
más. No es
That's all.
que me preocupe ni nada, ¿ya? ¿Ah? ¿Vaca?
When you came to talk with me earlier,
Qué
I jumped
tsundere.
right to explaining my position and said some strongly worded things. And all before I even had a full grasp of the situation. Anyway, I just feel a bit bad about how it went down. I'm sorry, Paimon.
Oh, it's totally fine. Paimon didn't take any of that personally.
Ya, entonces, ¿por qué no has venido directamente?
You really have a knack for asking the most uncomfortable questions, don't
Te
you?
pasaste, ¿ah?
I felt very sheepish, having had a change of heart after flatly refusing you. And then, to make matters worse, you caught me.
What a shame.
But in any case,
No lo dijo,
it
mano. Los
sounds
subtítulos
like the
están
issue
pésimos.
has already been resolved.
Yeah. When they said they were gonna ask for your help, I almost had a heart attack. I mean, how could we be worthy of having Lady FURINA star in our show?
There's no need to think like that. And no need to keep addressing me as lady. Just FURINA is fine. I was wondering, if this troupe is so important to all of you, why does it have to disband?
No, es que no es tan importante, no son tan
If the
famosos.
difficulties are purely financial, then there must be a solution. You could put the shows on pause while you look for a sponsor, for instance. Everyone seems so
Como
devoted to
Fonta,
the
por
troupe.
ejemplo.
I'm sure if you keep chipping away, you'll find a way through.
We all want to believe that, but some things are just beyond. Everything's been going downhill ever since we lost our director. She was the heart and soul of our troupe. She kept us going.
Her name
Ahora
was
FURINA va a
Elaine,
ser la directora.
and she was the founder as well as the artistic director of our troupe. And tragically, she was a victim in the serial disappearances case.
Ah, Aurelia. Ah, sí, sí, creo que sí suena su nombre, creo. Sale su nombre cuando Basher está a punto de morir.
That's actually how I
Creo que
recognized
sí
these
se
two.
la menciona,
It was
pero
all
no
thanks
recuerdo
to
bien.
their efforts that the true culprit was brought to justice. But still, no sentence can bring our director back to us.
She was a loyal fan of your performances, Miss FURINA. They were what first inspired her to get into musical theater. She rallied many people around her who were destitute or had lost their sense of purpose in life, and convinced them to join her troupe. She wrote her own scripts, acted on stage, and mentored each and every one of us. People loved our performances back then. We seemed to be
Maldito
going
Asher,
from
man.
strength to strength.
Pero lo
Things
bueno es que
were
obtuvo
really
su
looking
merecido.
up for us.
And
Y ahora
then
todas las chicas descansan en
disaster
paz.
struck.
Yeah. After that, the entire troupe fell into disarray. None of us know anything about script writing, let alone how to handle the business side of things. We've been doing the best we can. But despite our efforts, things are slowly but surely falling apart. It's agonizing. But ultimately,
Eso es lo que pasa cuando se pierde un buen
we'd rather
líder.
end things now on our own terms than stick it out to the bitter end and watch all our dreams turn to dust.
Oh.
Qué sad, man. F.
What a terrible waste. A gifted artist from humble beginnings who achieved so much and no doubt had much more to give. I suppose it's fair to say then that this final show, besides being your farewell to the stage, is also your final gift for her?
Yes, exactly. We all miss her terribly.
Well, good thing I followed the traveler here. After hearing this tragic tale, I can no longer stand by and do nothing.
¿Qué sería que todo fuera mentira?
FURINA.
No, no creo.
I know what you're thinking, but I by no means plan to cross the boundary I've set for myself. Besides, they're no longer looking for a replacement anyway.
Pero sí, una directora.
I can, however, provide some artistic guidance from the vantage point of a highly experienced audience member. But only if you feel this is something that would help, of course.
Oh, most definitely. We'll take any guidance that you can give.
We unfortunately don't have any budget for a consultant, though. Will that be a problem?
I don't need any compensation. All I'd ask in return, if you're willing, is that you tell me some more about the life and work of your late director. Something I've begun to realize since my departure from the Opera Epiclese is that there's a lot you don't see when you observe everything from on high. The law only judges criminal behavior and does not weigh human emotion. The court's verdict can settle the question of criminal liability, but what about all the unresolved emotions of the parties involved? What happens to them?
Puede que el veredicto produzca una catarsis
An
emocional, exacto.
interesting answer. But if you ask me, I think all emotion shall ultimately return home to the heart. Take, par exemple, how this troupe pines for their late director. Things such as this I have never witnessed before. And so I should like to observe, perchance to understand.
Ajá.
Still a fan of your old dramatic monologues then, huh?
Qué,
You just wanna get
qué
back in on
malcriada
the
es
action,
Paimon, de
don't
verdad.
you?
No. This is a
No,
completely
no.
different
That's
situation.
not what I meant.
Pearls before swine.
Gracias por poner a Paimon en su lugar.
Name's not Swine, it's Paimon!
Would you be willing to join me? Come on, take a break from adventuring to listen to a story.
Está bien, pero ¿por qué eres tú? Bueno, pero porque está relacionado con el Cázar.
Thank you all so much. Our director
Mira,
was a
ahorita
huge fan of
Furina
Miss
necesita
Farina's
todo el apoyo
performances,
emocional que pueda
as,
tener, así que
of
esto
course,
va a servir
we all
para
have.
uno, para distraerse, y dos, para poder estar mirándola y saber que no vaya a tener otra crisis.
All right, follow me. We'll go to our usual practice space. Please excuse the size. It's a little on the smaller side.
Ok, nos fuimos. Este es el lugar de ensayo. Esto parece una tienda. Ah, es un mini teatro, interesante, está muy bonito. Qué bonito, ¿ah?
Huh? Lady Furina?
What's Lady
Todos
Furina
van a ir
doing here?
corriendo ahora.
Hello all. Allow me to explain. As of today, Miss Furina will be supporting our production of The Little Oceanid in the role of artistic consultant. These two over here are the ones that made it possible. They kindly reached out to Miss Furina on our behalf. I'm sure they need no introduction.
Caballero honoraria para ti.
You bet! That was the trial of the century!
You helped bring our director's murderer to justice. We can't thank you enough.
Oh, please don't mention it. We're just here to join in on the fun.
So, you were saying the Little Oceanid?
Yeah, that's the name of our final show. It's an unfinished script left behind by our director. One of our greatest regrets is that she never got to complete it. So, if we can bring it to the stage and make it a successful show,
Es un bonito
we can all
regalo,
take
¿ah?
some solace
En realidad
in
sí
that.
está... Sí es un...
But if it's not finished, then...
Sí, ahora me di cuenta que tienen muchos más problemas de los que yo pensaba.
Every front trying to realize this dream. Anyway, let me give you a quick summary of what the story's all about. The protagonist of the story is a young Oceanid who transforms herself into human form, despite the protests of her family. She longed to live just like any other human. And sure enough, she found friendship and even love.
Y déjeme adivinar,
Everything seemed
después,
perfect.
cuando lo perdió todo, se fue a la aldea
But one
Chinse.
day, her true identity was exposed, and her world came crashing down around her.
So far, so good. A classic tale. What happened after that?
That's one of the issues we've been trying to deal with. Unfortunately, this was as far as the director got with her script. We need a proper ending so we can bring this musical to the stage. But people have different opinions on which direction to take it in.
We still haven't decided between a happy ending or a true-to-life tragedy.
By true to life, you mean the director's sudden disappearance?
Yeah, like they say, truth is stranger than fiction.
Palabra de Dross.
But then there's the question of whether we really want to use the stage to pass our raw pain onto the audience.
Exactly. A lot of the time, people come to watch a show just hoping for some light entertainment. We have to consider their emotional stake in this. And one last thing. We're still waiting on confirmation from two of our main actors. The first is Paulo, who plays the protagonist's lover. He's locked himself away to focus on writing an ending
Ya
for the
el men ya
script.
tuvo una embolia.
The
Ya.
deadline's passed, and we still haven't
Le
heard
dio
from him.
una parálisis
The
cerebral
other
de
is
tanto estar
Vilmont,
pensando
who
en...
plays the main antagonist. He took the director's death pretty hard. Hasn't set foot in the city since. He did write to us, promising that he'll be there for the final performance, but we haven't seen or heard from him since. So we're not really sure what to make of that.
Although, now that we have Miss Farina helping us, maybe we should take the opportunity to get everyone back together.
What opportunity? What do you mean?
No, pues ahí ya la están usando ya.
Maybe you're unaware, but your name has always been like a rallying cry for us.
Our director was constantly singing your praises. All of us look up to you as a role model.
Oh, stop! You're making me all flustered. Although...
Ya está
not in
volviendo a
a
entrar
bad
en...
way.
Ya le está volviendo a gustar el...
I suspect the reason they're
La fama.
dragging their feet is
Como
that
diría
they have
Makanaki,
doubts
la
about
puta
whether
fama.
the show will really go ahead, considering all the issues you've been facing. But one by one, all the obstacles are being removed. Now is the time to rally the troops.
Makes sense. Okay, priority number 1, let's check in with Paulo and see where he's at with the ending. He went back to Poisson a few days ago.
Poisson.
Said that staying in a friend's home might help him to relax and escape the feeling of isolation.
I thought the last thing his friend would want right now would be to take visitors, given that Poisson was flooded not too long ago. But I guess it's the opposite. A friend in need and all that.
Yeah, maybe he could use some company.
Poisson.
Poisson. ¿Ocurre algo, Furi?
Nothing. I suppose my presence will be indispensable if we are to restore his faith in the show. So, allons-y. To Poisson.
Poisson. ¿Puedo hablar con alguien de aquí?
Pressure's on now. We gotta make sure we're fully prepared.
Que están recontra estresados estos menes.
You're off to Poisson to find Paulo,
Poisson.
right? Have a safe trip. We'll take care of the troop while you're gone.
Ok. Bueno, a Poisson. Muy bien, llegamos a Poisson.
If I remember correctly, this is where he's staying.
Who is it?
It's
Paulo.
me. Is the script ready?
You came all the way here for that?
All right. Forget that for now. Just come on out. We've got some great news.
Nice try. Look, just give me some time, okay? I'm just wrapping up this last part of the script. I'll be out once I'm done.
Adentro debe haber un
Okay,
olorcito,
then.
pero...
Looking forward to your masterpiece.
So, as expected, he's missed the deadline.
The ending is one of the most important parts of the show. Even once he's done, it isn't final until we've all had the chance to read through and make sure we agree on it.
Someone told me they'd just seen you in Poisson.
Apareció.
I assumed it was a case of mistaken identity, but sure enough, here you are. And
I was wondering if we might run into her.
so you're here for Paulo? Looks like he could be a while, so feel free to take a stroll around town in the meantime. I've made all the arrangements already.
Navia,
It's
como
okay.
siempre,
We can
pensando en
just wait.
nosotros.
Thank you for being so considerate, Miss Navia. That sounds wonderful. We'll take that stroll. Get over here, you! How oblivious are you?
How are things in Poisson now?
Poisson.
Any better?
Things are on the mend, but it's a slow process. Some people may never recover from the trauma they experienced.
I'm sorry to hear that. I wish there was something I could do.
Please, must our conversations take such a depressing turn every time we meet? We all have painful memories, but we don't have to let them cloud everything we do. And if you're trying to make a new start, perhaps it's best if you don't bring up the past all the
Exacto.
time.
Si has pasado por muchas cosas malas, lo mejor es no recordarlas.
Thank you
Recordar
for your
los
words of
mejores
comfort.
momentos de nuestras vidas.
You make a very good point. But for now, at least, I think I should stay with the way I'm feeling for a while longer.
It's okay. These things take time. Moving on from a painful experience is
Peor
easier
si han
said
sido
than done.
500 años.
Which brings me to why I'm here. I thought you should probably know that not everyone here is ready to forgive and forget after the Hydro Archon's inaction in the face of catastrophe. To avoid upsetting
Después de
the
todo,
peace,
Poisson fue
I told the townspeople
fue
that everyone here is a member of the
el pueblo
theater
más
troupe,
afectado
and
por
that you
el
are just an
desastre.
actress playing the role of FURINA. It's not a perfect solution, but hopefully it means you won't have to lie low while you're here.
Oh.
Thoughtful of you, Navia.
Well, what do you expect? I am the courageous and considerate president of Spina di Rosula, after all, like my father before me. Anyway, that was all. Look after her now.
Definitivamente. Esta chica necesita
Off we go,
todo
then.
el apoyo que podamos
Let's
darle.
take a look
Todo el
up
apoyo
there.
emocional que podamos darle.
I don't have any friends that I can be frank and honest with. So maybe she's right. You're the closest thing to friends that I have.
No te preocupes, puedes contar conmigo para todo. Muy bien, tenemos que irnos por aquí entonces. Todos voltean a mirarla. A la miércoles. Esto huele a
I'm
problemas, ¿eh?
so grateful that Miss Navia was so understanding. To be perfectly honest, I didn't know if I was ready to meet her. It's always easiest to just run away from your problems. But that never fixes anything. You can't get around the obstacles.
Exacto, a veces simplemente es mejor hablar.
So that's why you were nervous when they brought up Poisson.
Poisson.
Yeah. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't scared of coming back here. Still,
La gente de Poisson fue la que más sufrió durante la inundación, de verdad.
I want to see for myself the things that I never could in the past. I'd be overjoyed if the people here could find it in their hearts to forgive me. But they're more likely to unleash a tirade of vitriol against me.
Y definitivamente hay gente que no le cree a Navia.
I completely understand and accept. Yeah, I can tell people are watching me. I'm sure some people here see the idea of someone coming to Poisson dressed as the Hydro Archon as extremely disrespectful. I used to be terrified of the gaze of other people, especially when they had suspicion or resentment in their eyes. I guess I wasn't quite ready for this after all.
I'm not surprised you're making yourself go through all of this.
Puede que estés cargando con mucho.
I can't let myself see only the things I want to see. How would that make me any different from before?
Look, there seems to be a crowd gathering over there.
El bullicio de
Probably time we
desconcierto.
made a move.
Sí, mejor vámonos porque está...
How about we check out Spina di Rasula's ship? We should have a view of the whole of Poisson from there.
Poisson. Ok, y de la nada la gente se fue, interesante.
I'm sorry. You probably just wanted a relaxing stroll. And here I am dumping all this heavy
Escúchame,
stuff on you.
necesitas alguien con quien conversar, así que yo estoy dispuesto a apoyarte, no hay
We
problema.
don't mind. It's actually refreshing to see a different side of you.
Great. Well, I appreciate your company, so please don't disappear just yet. I don't know whether you can tell, but the years of suffering and loneliness aren't the only reason I have a hard time facing up to who I used to be. As I stand here by the ship, I can't get the images of the rising water out of my mind. One after another, people were taken by the water. All those treasured lives and memories washed out of existence in an instant. They thought their god would protect them. They had absolute faith that when disaster struck, a divine power would save them from harm. And all the while, I played my part to perfection to convince them that was true.
Pero sí se cumplió, pero sí cumplió realmente, solo que tardó mucho, eso es lo que pasa. O sea, Focalors tardó demasiado en... No es culpa de Furina. No fue su culpa, en mi opinión.
I've had to go through so many moments like that for the sake of protecting the truth. As time went on, it got harder and harder to bear. And eventually, I realized I had nothing left except the truth. I became terrified of completely failing in my task, and was haunted by the thought of being left all alone, weeping on my throne. Fortunately, we were able to avoid the worst-case scenario thanks to the help of heroic individuals such as yourselves. Everyone rose to their responsibilities, and I finally regained my freedom. But on some level, freedom also means no longer being needed.
Oh,
I would have never imagined you'd see it that way.
Reward?
porque ahora al menos puedes decir lo que sientes, porque ya no tienes que seguir sufriendo.
I guess so.
Porque ahora puedes tener amigos de verdad y personas que te van a rodear y te van a...
I didn't even dare to dream about having someone to confide
Hoy día nos
in.
estamos volviendo muy emocionales, ¿eh?
I was scared of someone recognizing me for who I truly was, and exposing the secret I swore to protect. Believe in the FURINA you see on stage. She is the one you can trust. I had to keep all my feelings, all my curiosity about life to myself. No one could be allowed to know. That's what I really meant when I said I'm no good at maintaining relationships.
So that's where you were coming from. Paimon totally thought you were just a bit of a diva at heart.
No, no.
Could you please get off my case? I don't
Exacto.
know what's gotten into you today. I'm making an effort here. You could at least try to do the same.
Pero te sientes mejor ahora que has dicho cómo te
do.
sientes, ¿verdad?
I once
Ignora a
said
Paimon, o
nothing
sea,
but the
ignoren a
truth,
Paimon aquí
and
ahorita.
now
Ignora a Paimon.
I'm
Paimon
finally free
no
to
vale la pena
live
hablar
my
con
own
ella.
life again. And even though I have no idea where I'm going right now, at least the choice is in my hands. All right, it's about time to head back. Paulo should have finished the ending by now.
¿Tan rápido? No hemos estado, en realidad no hemos estado aquí tanto tiempo. Bueno, en horas reales. Si hablamos de horas dentro de... Deben haber pasado horas de horas, porque... Una hora en la vida real es un minuto en Teyvat es una hora en la vida real, así que...
Didn't you say you needed to watch what you eat? You're supposed to be cutting down on fried foods, not wolfing down copious quantities of fish and chips, you know?
¿Quién no se evitaría un poco de fish and chips? Son riquísimos esos platos.
Come on. It's not every day we get to dine at Spina di Rosula's expense. Can you believe how generous she is? I'm not about to pass on free food. Anyway, my character doesn't need to be slim and good-looking. That's your job.
Are you kidding me right now? It's not your character's health I'm worried about, it's yours.
Exacto, no puedes estar con alguien, ¿cómo puedes confiar en alguien que es así gordito? No tiene sentido.
Life battling the effects of ill health, and it kills me to watch you willingly ruin yours by filling yourself up with junk all the time.
Oh no, looks like they're arguing again.
Sobre todo que los actores y actrices deben tener un buen físico, a menos que la obra exija que sea un gordito. En ese caso, hay muchas formas de verse gordo sin necesidad de engordar. Muchos actores lo han hecho. El mejor ejemplo es Brendan Fraser, que sí tuvo que engordar un poquito, pero el resto fue fue un trabajo de escenografía tremendo.
So you were discussing your characters, right? We heard she's playing the Oceanid who turns into a human girl. What about you?
Me? I'm an Oceanid too.
He was originally supposed to take the form of a crane, but he outgrew that role. Well, the costume at least. So now he's playing the boar instead.
Ay.
Sorry.
Igual yo.
The boar's not a bad character, actually.
FURINA.
He's the one who raises the little Oceanid, yes?
That's right.
Rayos, hay un mosquito alrededor.
Lines too, like when he imparts some solemn words of wisdom
Hay
to
un
the little
mosquito,
Oceanid.
no.
If you become human, you can reveal your secret to no one. You will face suffering and loneliness. Is this truly what you want?
Wait, that sounds kind of familiar.
Exacto.
It's the most important line in the whole script. I think it's a symbolic statement about our director's life and legacy. She kept quiet about all the trials and tribulations she faced in running our troupe, allowing us to devote ourselves fully to performing.
Un poquito de
It was only
una
after
metáfora,
she was
¿no?
gone that we realized how tough her job really was.
You mentioned earlier that the troupe is like your home.
Yeah. I was born with an incurable illness, and once my family found out it couldn't be treated,
¿Qué diablos es esto de acá? ¿Son
decided
tentáculos?
they didn't want me anymore. I spent some years taking whatever work I could find and trying to manage my illness with various medicines. But whenever I had a bad flare-up, I'd be lying in an alleyway for days at a time. It was like that until the director found me one day. She told me I had a great voice and asked if I was interested in studying singing from her. I said yes. She took me under her wing, taught me to both sing and act, helped me find Mora for my meds, took care of me when my condition decided to flare up. I know it was all a huge burden.
Ah, todo es una metáfora. La directora ha sido como FURINA, algo así, que tenía una gran carga.
She really was. She gave everything she had to her troupe and the people in it. All of us were so proud to call her our director. I was a lost child too when she found me. As the child of a murderer, my parents weren't around when I was little, so I got sent to an orphanage. The other kids were always picking fights with me. They'd say things like, "Come on, you must be pretty tough if you're the son of a murderer." It was just to taunt me, though. I was an easy target, and they knew it. One day, I got beaten up so bad that I just couldn't take it anymore, so I ran away. I lost all faith in humanity by that point.
Let me guess. Fortunately, the next person you ran into was the director.
Yeah. For the first time in my life, I was somewhere I felt safe. And I promised myself I'd stay here until the day the group parted ways.
The day you hoped would never come.
El día que no esperabas que llegara.
How times change.
Oh, you're finally done? Get your butt over here. There's someone I need to introduce you to. This is our new artistic consultant, Miss FURINA.
FURINA? The FURINA? Oh my god, how did you manage to wrangle that?
Please, the honor is all mine. I was profoundly moved to hear about your troupe and your wonderful director. I just wanted to do something to help.
Same here.
Even so, this is just... Oh, wow. I'm sorry.
Ya,
I'll try
tranquilo,
to
men.
calm
Respira, respira,
down.
respira,
Now,
tranquilo.
Where was I? Ah, yes, the script, of course. Let me give you a rundown of how the story unfolds in my version of the script.
A ver.
I'm sure you're already familiar with the beginning of the story. A little Oceanid decides she wants to become a human, against the wishes of her family.
Ya.
She finds love and friendship in the bustling city.
Qué
But
bonito.
then, disaster strikes. The people start to notice that all the fresh water in the surrounding area is slowly disappearing. The soil is becoming arid, plants and flowers are withering, and the people begin to panic. The little Oceanid, Cleo, and her lover decide to do something about it, and investigate the truth of the matter together. In the end, they discover that all the waste and pollution created by humans over the years has caused the fresh water to flee the land, as if driven by a consciousness of its own.
Consciousness? You mean the water is sentient?
Water as a conscious entity. There's actually quite a few stories that explore this theme.
Since the little Oceanid is a water spirit, she immediately understands how the water is feeling. She then tells her lover about her true identity, as well as the truth behind the crisis.
Ya,
Her
le
lover
cuenta la
accepts
verdad
her for
y...
who she is, and works with her to find a way to bring the water back. However, unbeknownst to them, there were some people eavesdropping when she revealed her secret. The little Oceanid is accused of being directly responsible for driving the water away, and faces the
¿Por qué la
greatest
gente...
dilemma of her
¿Por qué
life.
tienden a ser tan salvajes y inmediatamente es una bruja al toque acusando, güey?
In the end,
Era
she
la
makes the
época de la
brave
Inquisición,
decision to
güey.
sacrifice herself to save her lover and the rest of humanity.
Huh? But didn't they all treat Cleo
Es
as a
una
villain?
historia muy similar a la de focalors.
After that?
Well, she mainly wanted to save her lover, plus everyone who'd stood up for her.
Through her love for her human partner, she was able to find an even greater love, one that extended to all of humanity. Surely,
De hecho, es un
the
concepto muy
biggest
romántico,
strength
aunque no lo
of Cleo's
crean.
character.
There's actually something else that bothers me. You know the protagonist is supposed to represent the director, right? And she never had the chance to become a hero in our world. If we're serious about dedicating this show to her memory, we should make the ending as true to life as possible. What about if the little Oceanid is hounded to death by people who hate her?
Pero, no,
Her
eso
lover
sería
makes sure
peor.
her
No me gusta
secret never gets out,
ese final muy
and
trágico.
humanity continues down the path to extinction.
That sounds like too cruel of an ending to me. And perhaps a little irresponsible to present to the audience.
That ending would be
Claro.
a perfect mirror to Director Aureli's death, both arbitrary and meaningless.
Claro, y aparte que la gente ha venido traumada de la profecía.
On the day when she went missing, Director Aureli had instructed us all, somewhat out of the blue, to leave the court of Fontaine and wait for her outside the city. We waited and waited at the rendezvous point, but she never came. By the time we returned to the city, she disappeared without a trace. We looked for her. The Gardamex looked for her, but she was nowhere to be found. Increasingly, All the signs seem to point to her being the latest victim in the serial disappearances case.
The director was the kindest soul in the world. Yet she was
Maldito Basher, lo vuelvo a decir, maldito
for
Basher.
the sake of a so-called experiment by someone who had nothing to do with her at all.
But doesn't the way she suddenly told you to leave the city suggest that maybe she had some sense of what was about to happen? It almost...
I've been trying to follow up on that ever since, but all my efforts so far have turned up nothing. Villemont might know something, but he won't open up to me.
Villemont? The one who's playing the role of the villain?
Yeah.
Beaumont.
He's been overwhelmed by grief.
Beaumont.
I think
No,
the
no sé cómo
director's
se
death
pronuncia.
hit him
Mi
hard
francés
as
es
all.
deplorable.
Grief? Guilt, more like. Also, I have a hard time
Ya van a
imagining
discutir
that
otra
anyone
vez.
took it harder than me. Because, well, speaking of the play being true to life, I was deeply, madly in love with Aurelie.
Oh.
What? You kept that one quiet.
Y ella está enamorada del puesto de
It's time
polio.
to be upfront with you all. No more keeping secrets from each other.
Y
We'll
ella
never be able to
seguro
agree
que
on the
ella
ending
está
if we
enamorada de
can't be
Paleo.
honest about how we feel. I did tell her how I felt once, but she turned me down pretty much straight away.
Y tú seguiste de simp.
She said that we were all like brothers and sisters to her, and she'd never considered us as potential romantic partners. Not that it came as a shock or anything. It was what I was expecting to hear. So I told her I'd always be there for the troupe, and I'd always be there for her. I said, maybe one day in the future, when everyone's settled into their own lives and on the up and up, and managing the troupe no longer required her constant attention, well, maybe then she could reconsider what she really wanted in her life. And now, that day will never come.
Mano. Man.
So if I'm the one writing
Qué
this
sad,
ending,
man.
then I'm gonna make sure it does right by Aurelie. I won't let anyone get in the way of that.
In that case, you have to straighten things out with Villemont once and for all. We've all had our differences of opinion over the ending, but those two have never seen eye to eye on anything.
Well, if that's where we're at, looks like it's time to go visit Villemont.
Ahora vamos
Are
con
you ready to
Belmont.
face the truth?
Belmont.
Honestly,
Oh,
I'm
coño.
slightly
Oh,
terrified.
baguette con omelette de fromage.
For the sake of our final performance, I'll do whatever it takes. Funny you should ask, though. You really do get what I'm going through right now.
I certainly do. Come on, everyone. Allons-y!
Allons-y. Oh. Me encanta.
This is tough going. Delphi.
Ya ves, la week
Are you sure you
deberías
can manage in your
debería
condition?
bajar de peso.
I could ask you the same question. Try to keep up.
Demasiada comida chatarra se mete ese men. ¡Ay, slimes!
As if this journey wasn't tough enough already without a roadblock.
Don't worry. We should all be fine with the traveler here. We don't need to take a detour. Wait, why are you all looking at me?
Bueno, ahorita en este
You're not
momento no
seriously
tienes una
expecting
visión.
me to fight, are you?
We're just curious, that's all. I don't think anyone's ever seen FURINA in a fight before.
Yeah, but don't you remember why? The Hydro Archon willingly gave up all her power so it could be converted into
Y esa fue
Indemnitium.
una de su actuación.
Miss FURINA said so herself.
Precisely. And I'm not even the Hydro Archon anymore, so all my power is gone anyway. As much as it pains me, unfortunately, I should just stay put. I'm more like a damsel in distress, more than anything.
That sounded so smug. Ugh, secondhand embarrassment is unbearable.
Tampoco es que haga falta tener poderes divinos para esto, ¿no? ¿Sabes algo de defensa
Hey,
personal?
lay off, all right? My bluff is hanging from a thread here. I'm sorry. I got carried away.
Esa cara.
Please help us out, would you?
Aw, too bad. I was so pumped to feast my eyes on fight mode FURINA.
Sorry to leave all the heavy lifting to you.
Don't worry, piece of cake.
Sí, son unos slimes nomás. No es que sea la gran cosa. Ah, hay un slime crío. Ese sí va a ser un problema porque no tengo pyro ahorita. Ah, pero tengo electro.
Phantasmagoria!
Vamos a darle con electro esto. Para que ataque más rápido. No puede ser, salieron más. Que vamos a deshacernos de este. Me congeló. No quiero usar a Furina todavía.
Good show. You certainly live up to your reputation.
Ignoren mi barra de vida.
Yeah, thank you. Anyway, the path is cleared now, so onwards and upwards.
Vilma, are you there?
Huh?
Vaya.
Oh, it's you guys.
Bro, ¿en serio vives
What's
así?
FURINA
Wow.
doing here?
I can explain. We've been rounding up the whole troop. We now have everyone except you.
Ok, Dolphy le explica a Beman todo lo ocurrido.
So, you think knowing the truth about the director's disappearance will help you write an ending to the script that pleases everyone? I care just as much as everyone else about making the little Oceanid a success. That's why I wanted to wait until after the show. If I open this can of worms now, I just don't want to make things difficult between us. We're supposed to be a unit when we're on stage.
Damn.
Avoiding the truth will not help anyone. Unless you mean to suggest that Aurelie's death had something to do
algo
with
me
you.
decía, sí, algo me
I
decía.
don't want to talk about it.
Listen, Vimo. I used to think that my love for Aurelie was a point of shame. I never brought it up to anyone. But now, I've made up my mind to put it all on the table. I'm prepared to face everything, to sacrifice everything for the sake of the show. The little Oceanid cannot be complete unless we do justice to Aurelie on an emotional level.
This is why people think of you as not being the smart one. As you all know already, the troupe was kept afloat not from ticket sales, but donations from the audience. Of course, that was nowhere near enough. We took on side jobs when we weren't performing, but even then, the troupe's financial situation was pretty dire. So, anyway, one day after a show, a merchant came to me and offered us a huge sponsorship. In return, we just had to provide the audience
Déjame
with
adivinar,
drinks
Fonta.
during performances. It seemed like a win-win, so I said yes to it on the spot without consulting the director. The drink in question was
Sinte.
synth.
Oh.
Isn't that the drink paddled by the culprit behind the serial disappearances case?
Era demasiado nocivo para la
I
salud.
freaked out when I saw the boxes. And I told the director everything right away. She was completely shocked as well.
Hijo de
She
su
didn't reprimand
madre.
me for making the decision without consulting her. Instead, she contacted the merchant and stated that the troupe could not agree to this collaboration. The merchant was furious, berated us for going back on our word, and threatened to sue us for damages. The amount.
And then,
I was going to sort it on my own, but the director stopped me. She said that this was an issue for the whole troupe and it wasn't my fault. But things only got worse from there. The synth merchant just wouldn't let up, and then suddenly the director told us all to leave the city one day.
No.
I admit this whole thing was my mistake. I didn't dare to tell any of you the truth back then, and after the director disappeared, I was even more afraid to say anything.
Y fueron por ella y la asesinaron.
Yeah, I got Aurelie killed. There, I said it. Happy now?
Hey, don't say that.
you traitor! You knew Aurelie was in danger. Why in God's name didn't you tell us?
Pero,
What do you mean? You were afraid? This was a life and death situation. We could have saved her. How could you
no
be
estoy
so
tan seguro.
stupid?
Ay. Ay, no. Ay, ok.
Please, try not to get too worked up.
Yeah, listen to him. You need to stay calm.
Stay
No,
calm.
no sé si se habrá visto, pero salió una notificación de Windows en el y hizo que se me minimice el juego.
The love of my life. And he has the gall to try and high road us, claiming that he kept his mouth shut for the sake of the show. How about taking some responsibility for what he's done?
All I can say is I'm sorry. Truly. I wanted to apologize to everyone in the troupe, but that won't bring back the director. I'm just a coward who made an awful, terrible mistake that I can never take back. Beat me up if you want. Kill me if you prefer. It's what I deserve.
Tampoco vamos a hacer
In
eso.
my life. So I can meet the director and apologize to her in person.
Get out of my sight. Go, get lost. I don't ever want to see your face again.
That's enough! You've screamed and shouted at each other for long enough. Now pipe down, both of you! Can you stop conflating the show on stage with your real-life relationships in the troupe? You keep saying that you want to use this final performance to pay tribute to your director and celebrate her life. How can you do that if you're just using it as an excuse to vent your own emotions?
Exacto.
You're right.
I'm sorry.
On stage, the lead role is the focal point of the audience's attention. And you're all used to seeing the director as the heart of the troupe. But in her own life, her greatest desire wasn't to be the center of attention. I can tell how much she loved you all, and how much she loved the troupe. What she wanted was to build a warm home for all of her brothers and sisters. To shield you all from the storms that rage in the world outside. That's how you should remember her. And I
Exacto.
understand why you're trying to make her the hero of the story, but isn't she your hero already?
Yeah.
So think hard about what that means. And then think again about what you hope to achieve by arguing with each other. If you really hate each other and can't reconcile your differences, then you could just call it quits now. Why bother with the final performance if the group is already fractured?
Claro.
But you can't bring yourself to do that, can you? You care too much about Director O'Reilly and the home she built you all to let go.
¿Qué pasa,
What are
Dolphy?
you laughing at? I don't see what's so funny.
Suenas como ella le va a decir, ay.
Sorry, I didn't mean it that way. It's just that for a moment
Ah,
there,
la men, que sad.
it felt like our director was back with us again. If she'd seen Paulo and Vilmont at each other's throats like that, she would have scolded them exactly like you did, in that same stern voice.
Really? But she sounded like such a gentle person.
Of course she was. Even her harshest lectures came from a place of kindness, and it showed. She really was a truly outstanding person.
What you said, it really puts everything into perspective.
Men, qué sad, de verdad.
I'm truly sorry. I really meant for this to be a genuine apology, but
Pero bueno, ahora el grupo está
making it all
junto
about me and my
y pueden
self-pity.
hacer la mejor obra que hayan podido haber presentado.
It's all right. Let's save all this for after the performance.
So, the ending. What are we gonna do about it?
Clearly, everyone needs to take a step back for now and reflect on what really matters. When emotions are running high, things get lost in the fray. The end of the story needs to focus back on O'Reilly herself. She's the true star of the show.
Habría que aprender
What do
más
you
de ella.
mean?
The Traveler is right. You once investigated that underwater synth base and recovered items belonging to the victims. If you could find anything that O'Reilly left behind, perhaps we can get a better sense of what she went through in her final days.
You really think that's possible?
I trust that nobody would object to the ending of the story being based on O'Reilly's true feelings.
No.
Well, we'll leave this in your capable hands.
Come, let's pay a visit to the Palais Mermonia.
Ah, vamos a ir a buscar
The
neuvillette.
rest of you, head back to the rehearsal location for now and wait for our good news.
Ok. Fantástico, tenemos que hablar con Cedine, la mejor melusina de todo
You
Fontaine.
want to review some recovered items connected to victims of the serial disappearances case? But, that case has been closed for quite a while now. Still, since you were the ones who discovered and submitted the evidence in the first place, you don't actually have to submit an application. Okay, please hold on. I'll have someone dig them out.
Es la mejor melusina de todas. Tiene la mejor voz.
This is all O'Reilly left behind. Just whatever she was carrying on her person and this tattered old notebook.
Hey! It's full of script lines! And sketches too! Looks like they show where the different props should be placed on stage.
Let me take a look. Maybe there's something in here from after she was kidnapped. Aha! I found something. To whoever discovers this diary. Let's see. Looks like she kept a detailed record of her captor's actions. She even mentions the truth behind the experiments on dissolving young women. If we'd had the chance to examine this notebook carefully back then, it would have been a conclusive piece of evidence proving Vacher's guilt.
Vacher took so many lives.
Fuck you, Vacher.
It's so unthinkable how many victims he had.
I
Maldito
guess
sea
O'Reilly
Vacher.
must have written all of this down in the hope that her records would one day be of use to investigators. Wait, it cuts off. Her
Se corta.
handwriting here gets patchier and more illegible by the line. She probably didn't have much strength left. Her final words are... I'll let you read them for yourselves.
A ver. Volvieron a llevarse una persona. Es la sexta, o quizás sea la séptima. Ayer alguien quiso huir pero lo atraparon. No le volví a ver desde entonces. Tal vez no sucediera ayer. Hace mucho que perdí la noción del tiempo. Lo siento, no sé si servirá de algo escribir esto, ni cuánto más podré seguir haciéndolo. Soy consciente del destino que me espera dentro de poco, pero lo que me da aún más miedo es ver otras personas de las compañías, ¿de verdad? ¿Los protegí? Lo siento, de veras, soy capaz de seguir escribiendo. Creo que tengo fiebre y vuelvo a sufrir problemas de estómago, pero nadie me da medicina. Casi se pasó toda la noche en vela por culpa del dolor. Lo mío no es nada comparado con lo de ella. El valor de los objetos experimentales no pasará nada mientras se agoten antes de morir. Aquí hay mucha humedad, así que le di mi alfombra. Hace mucho, mucho frío. Tengo que aguantar hasta que todo pase. El esfuerzo siempre tiene recompensas. Es lo que siempre me gusta decirles, pero quien no va a aguantar soy yo. Si alguien ve compañía, paz, para mí, ellos, más importante. Por favor, despedida, perdón. Viva, vida, representar, futuro, lástima, Clio. En esta página los trazos son muy caóticos y solo se puede reconocer apenas algunas palabras. A partir de esta página solo hay escritos textos de musicales y unas notas sin ordenar por fecha. Algunos de los textos están recortados de libros y periódicos, otros están escritos a mano y hay muchas marcas de correcciones. Parece que los leyeron con mucha frecuencia. Es de suponer que este era el cuaderno de notas de Aurel. Oh.
She was so terrified.
Vio como una chica se disolvía a
She
sus
may
ojos.
have been a mighty hero in the eyes of her troop, but at the end of the day, she was only human. I can't bear to think how painful and lonely her final days must have been. Wait. This part on the last page sounds strangely familiar.
En el resto de las páginas hay una gran cantidad de notas de musicales, pero hay una página que Aurel arrancó, dobló e introdujo en la parte de arriba de la última página en blanco. En la parte inferior hay escritas un par de frases con una caligrafía más legible, aunque es evidente que escribirlas requirió mucho tiempo de esfuerzo. Convertirse en una persona. No podrás revelarle tu secreto a nadie. Sufrirás y estarás sola. ¿Aún así estás dispuesta a hacerlo? Lo hago porque soy su hermana mayor. Los amo. Muy similar a Focalors y Furina.
If you become human, you can reveal your secret to no one. You will face suffering and loneliness. Is this still what you want?
Isn't that the most important line in the little Oceanid?
Because I am an older sister to them.
Oh.
So she didn't regret her decision. Even as she sat in silence, waiting for death to come. I'm sure this is what the troop would have hoped to hear as well.
Es una historia muy similar a la de Furina.
She had their utmost trust, admiration, and love, and she truly deserved it. Let's go. It's time for them to learn Director O'Reilly's final thoughts.
Ok. Vamos a decirlos. Al terminar de leer el cuaderno, algunos se quedaron en silencio, otros lloraron y otros apretaron sus dientes con rabia. Pero, claro, es obvio. Tras un buen rato el grupo se calma y se intenta poner de acuerdo.
She deserves a hero's farewell. If that's the only way to convey to the audience the courage and selflessness that she showed in the face of death, then it's a meaningful way to end the story.
Even in the last moments of her life, she was still leaving a trail for others to follow.
She did her best to protect as many people as possible, even if it meant sacrificing herself. We know what choice our little Oceanid would have made now. I don't think any more discussion is necessary.
Exacto.
Well, Vilmont, if we put the past aside for now, do you think you can bring yourself to go ahead with the show?
I will channel all my regret and put it into my performance, to make this a show worthy of our director. I won't ask for your forgiveness, and you don't need to worry about my feelings. This final farewell show should be about Director O'Reilly and her...
Then it seems like we've reached a consensus. I have a feeling that this will turn out to be the most mesmerizing performance of your lives.
Really? How can you be so sure when you've never even seen them perform before?
Don't underestimate
Paimon,
my
500
experience.
años. Paimon,
After
500
watching a countless
años.
number of musicals, I've learned one important thing. If you want to move the audience with your music, you must fully commit and immerse yourself in your role, pouring all your emotion into your performance. And aren't human emotions, love, hate, regret, and hope, just the most mesmerizing things in this world? I don't believe anybody could be more committed to bringing this story to life on the stage than they are now.
Y buena forma también de motivarlos en realidad.
Confidence, Miss Farina. And thank you for supporting us through all this.
Then, let's not delay things any longer. We need to discuss the details of the ending and get it nailed down once and for all.
Actually, before that, I'd like to make a proposal. During the curtain call, please allow me to use the director's name instead of my own.
Oh.
But then...
After all, this role was originally meant to be played by the director. I'm just filling in for her. Besides, a role commemorating her life should be associated with her name.
Me parece justo.
Well, if you're sure you're okay with that, I have no objection to it.
Now we're talking like a serious acting troupe. All right, I'll leave you to fine-tune your musical while I go and procure a stage.
Procure a stage?
Oh, it's okay. Our usual place doesn't need a reservation.
That place? Oh, don't be silly. For an extraordinary show, we need an extraordinary stage. By which I, of course, mean the Opera Epiclese.
Whoa, wait, what?
No. That's never going to work. It's far too fancy for the likes of us.
What are you afraid of? Surely you don't think that O'Reilly's story is unworthy of the grandest stage in Fontaine.
No, that's not what I meant.
It is supposed to be your grand finale, right?
Crean en ustedes mismos, definitivamente.
I have no problem with it then. How about the rest of you? I'll take your silence as a yes.
El gordito quería decir algo, pero no lo dijo.
Well, then don't disappoint me. If you mess this up, it'll reflect poorly on me too. Come on, we'll need to get the go-ahead from neuvillette.
Ya sabía
I know
ya.
just where to find him.
Vamos a ir a fregar a neuvillette. A ver, ¿qué van a decir ustedes?
First Miss Furina, now the Opera Epiclese? If only the director was still with us.
Hey, come on. There's no point in dwelling on that now. We have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, you're right. Now's not the time to get all melancholy.
Ajá. Beaumont.
Best of luck to you.
Gracias. Ah, no podemos hablar con ellos. Oh, Polo.
During the final scene, maybe we should stop the music just before Cleo takes the stage?
Bueno, todos están ocupados.
Hey, look at that. Looks like I guessed right.
Sí, estaba...
You were just guessing?
Emoción de Neuvillette.
I knew you'd be here.
I'm here merely for a short break. It has been a while, Miss FURINA. And you too, Traveler in Paimon. What might I assist you with today?
I would like to book the Opera Epiclese for an event. You see...
Le cuentan a Neuvillette la historia que hay detrás de la pequeña escena.
I understand. The process for booking the Opera Epiclese is complex and can be somewhat cumbersome. But given that the request is coming from the three of you, I see no reason to make things unduly difficult. The story of the little Oceanid is most fascinating. I'm looking forward to seeing it performed on stage. I will say, however, that I am surprised to see your passion for the performing arts rekindled after all that has happened.
No, es que no está actuando, solo está...
What do you mean? Do I look excited?
Yes. And this is the first time that I've seen you like this since your departure from deityhood.
At first, I just felt bad about rejecting them. So I wanted to learn a little bit more about their situation. But one thing led to another, and... well, here we are. In the past, we sat in our high chairs in the court, giving our opinions on isolated cases, all while knowing very little about the human Maybe it's because I finally become an ordinary person and gained my freedom. But I've developed a great sense of curiosity about their lives.
I am truly delighted to see you find a new lease on life. Now that you've regained some confidence, have you had any thoughts regarding a return to the stage?
Why would you suddenly ask a question like that?
Well, if the Little Oceanid turns out to be a great success, it will no doubt become a classic. Many theater companies are certain to add it to their repertoire.
Y sería mucho mejor si FURINA pudiera actuar, pero...
Cleo are all modeled after your own. Naturally, this makes you eminently suited to playing the leading role. It would truly be a shame if you did not take this opportunity to allow audiences to enjoy your outstanding acting talents once more.
Haven't I already made myself clear? I won't act or perform in any role ever again. No, nor do I think it is any great shame. There is no lack of fine actors or inspirational stories, either on or off the stage. This experience is a case in point. I feel like I've learned a lot, and it has already been well worth the price of admission.
Claro, yo pienso que también. Está bien.
Though, I'm a little envious. They're quite fortunate to be able to bid farewell to their past in such a magnificent manner.
I see. Well, I'm glad to learn that you have found a role to play that you enjoy. Yet, I sincerely hope the show will serve as the grandest of finales. I will have my staff book the date and mail the relevant paperwork to the troupe once the details are confirmed.
Thanks, Neuvillette.
You are very welcome.
Monsieur Neuvillette. Oh, a ver.
Many people were once enthralled by Lady FURINA's performances, myself included. I hope that one day she'll be able to understand that our appreciation was always sincere.
No, esa chica lo que necesita es una terapia emotiva, pero...
Good news, everyone. It's done. The Opera Epiclese is booked. Thanks to my eloquent and impassioned speech, Monsieur Neuvillette was moved to provide us with a fitting stage for this special performance.
Y no nos costó para
We've
nada.
had to fight every step of the way for this opportunity. But we now have all of the ingredients necessary to stage a truly spectacular performance.
Y a ellos definitivamente FURINA les está haciendo recordar a su directora.
And last but not least, a passionate and dedicated cast. Now, let's work together and make this show the best it can be.
This is truly wonderful.
The sooner we can finalize the ending, the more time we'll have to rehearse. Fiamma and I just went over some parts of the script and tweaked a few things. I think it's really going to resonate with the audience now.
Wow, you two had a constructive conversation? That's great!
Al fin.
Communication is vital to any good performance.
Look at us. We've come so far. I never
And
could
got
have
so
pictured this
far.
scene a few days ago.
But in the end,
It's
it doesn't even matter.
Even though Furina's still being a bit of a drama queen about it all, she's really fired everyone up.
Super. Paimon, qué cólera
Please
das a
feel
veces.
free to give us any comments or suggestions you have. We really value your input.
Hey, Loic, get over here. Time to practice the opening number.
Ok. Y así practican y practican y practican. Furina, la mejor directora de todo Fontaine. Quizás de todo Taiwán también. Oh. Se pone la peluca celeste, o sea que la gente sabe reconocer a las oceánidas. No me jodas, Paimon, estoy ocupada.
Cursed Cleo. She
Es
stole
la
the
hora.
waters of life from us. She's a fraud, and she must pay for her crimes.
This has nothing to do with her. The ignorance and hatred of our people is to blame. How can we hope to win back the water's favor if we don't change our ways?
This guy could be useful. Take him hostage. If Cleo wants him back, she'll have to show herself.
Leave this place, oh little
Hace un buen villano en
and
realidad.
never, ever look back.
Finaliza ese acto. Ay, no me digas que se pone nerviosa.
Everyone's really throwing themselves into their roles. I haven't seen such a fine performance.
¿Por qué no hay
in a
nadie
long
arriba?
time. If only.
What should we do? It's almost time for her to take the stage.
Que no me digas que se siente mal.
Why? Why does it have to be now?
Hey, what's going on? You're due on stage any second now. Oh no, not again. But why? What about your new meds? Did they stop working?
They've been getting less and less effective over time. I've had to keep increasing my dose.
What? I thought they cure it. So they were only managing your symptoms?
I figured whatever it took to get me through this final performance.
How could you do this to yourself? And after that lecture you gave me about not looking after my health.
Y algo me dice que aquí es donde Furina va a despertar sus poderes y la va a curar. Mira.
You... This is a conversation for another time. How can the show go on without its star performer?
Miss Furina, I'd like to make a request of you.
Say no more. If you're sick, you need to rest. I know what you're going to ask.
Furina va a actuar.
Loic,
Esto
your
no me lo puedo
character
perder.
has no more scenes, correct?
Oh, yeah. I think my scenes are all done. Although, I do have one more line. But I guess another guy in the troupe with a similar voice register could take it. Why?
Please take Delphi back to her place to rest. I'll sing the finale. From the sublime to the ridiculous.
Thank you, Miss Furina. I'm so sorry to put you in this position after
No,
everything
man.
you said.
Never mind. What's done is done. It's really my own fault for getting in too deep. No one likes regrets. Myself included. Leave it to me. I've watched you rehearse so many times that I've learned Cleo's part by heart.
I do not doubt your acting skills, but please allow me to ask just one more question. After all, this show is dedicated to the life and legacy of our director. What, in your opinion, is the reason Cleo shines so brightly?
It's her pure heart. Despite all the pain and loneliness she had to endure, she never once stopped
man.
believing in the beauty in this world.
Así como ella.
Well said. I leave Director O'Reilly in your hands.
Ahí va.
she here yet?
Let's get here!
She's not coming!
You're wrong. She's here.
Oh.
Si je pouvais dans l'eau, le monde serait-il plus beau? Me pardonneras-tu, ô chère mère? L'eau dans son courant fait danser nos vies, et la cité elle nourrit, ainsi que toi, mon doux amour.
But what about your wish?
My wish.
Qué emotivo, de verdad.
If you become human, you can reveal your secret to no one. You will face suffering and loneliness. Is this truly what you want?
Le grand amour ne suffit pas, seul un adieu fleurira. C'est notre histoire de vie, douce et amère. Moi, je suis seule et toujours là, à voir le monde et sa beauté. Et ça ne changera jamais, jamais.
Ahí está la visión. Obtuvo su visión al fin. Me ha gustado cuando cantaba en francés, hermano, qué buena. Me encantó. Un poco más y se me sale una lágrima, de verdad.
Is it just me? Or was that Lady Furina on the stage just now?
She hasn't been seen for a while now, and she just appears out of nowhere? Gotta say, though, her acting skills are as superb as ever.
The little Oceanid, Cleo, played by Aurélie Fumont.
Aurélie Fumont.
Wait, that's not her name. What's going on?
I don't know. Maybe it's just a doppelganger.
I've spent a lot of time out of the spotlight, and they didn't use my name during the curtain call either. Hopefully, not too many people recognized me. It's too bad that I had to break the one clear rule I'd managed to make for myself. Still, I have to admit that, despite everything, it felt good to be back on the stage again.
Finally, we would like to give a special thanks to our artistic consultant and event coordinator, Miss Furina.
Hey, that's not what we agreed on!
Oh, so it was Furina after all.
She's back!
Honestly, what is he doing? He should have run that by me first.
All right, calm down, don't be mad. This was a group decision. We just didn't want your contributions to go unacknowledged. After all, it's been the rule in Fontaine since ancient times that everyone's work, visible or invisible, is equally deserving of recognition.
Yes, I know the rule, but it should still be applied on a case-by-case basis. I wasn't ready for this yet.
It's no big deal. What's the worst that could happen?
Le van a pedir muchos autógrafos, van a pedir fotos con
Since you
ellos.
think it's so easy, you can sign them for me.
This is a great chat and all, but can we talk about that crazy thing that happened during the show? It nearly gave
sí.
Paimon a heart attack. Paimon flew over to where she was supposed to be and was about to drop the prop vision, and then suddenly, a real one popped out of thin air!
Oh, that. I've got no idea what happened there either. But hey, it worked pretty well, didn't it? I'll bet that the audience has never seen such a realistic prop.
Wait, what about Dolphy? I wonder how she's doing.
Let's go check on her.
¿Por qué decía Paimon?
Clearing the stage.
Este tremendo error de
Yes.
diálogo ahí,
Plus, she'll definitely want to hear how the end of the show went. If nothing else, we can safely say that we accomplished what we set out to do.
Ok, ahora técnicamente mi Furina ya es canon, o sea, mi Furina que ya tengo ya es canon, ahora sí. Ya por fin tiene su visión, ya puede salir en pantalla, ahora sí. Oh, Dolphy, dime que estás mejor.
Ah, you're back. She's doing okay. Her condition stabilized after taking some of her original medication. From experience, though, I'd say she still needs a few more days of rest.
How did the performance go? Was it a success? Did the audience like it?
You'll be glad to know it was fantastic! Also, you're not gonna believe what happened while FURINA was on the stage! You'll probably be able to read all
Ah,
about
sí.
it in the stage
Bueno,
report
nuestra amiga Furina aquí obtuvo su visión al fin.
That's wonderful. I'm so sorry I failed to see it through to the end. I guess I was wrong to try and tough it out to begin with.
Oh, don't worry about it. Like they told me after announcing my name during the curtain call, everyone's work deserves recognition. Even though you couldn't see it through to the final scene, the audience was very impressed by your performance. It's safe to say that you made your mark on this memorial show.
Well, one way or another, we did it. I've had bad luck ever since I was born, so I never expect things to go smoothly in life. I'm just happy to know that we went out on a high note. That's all that matters.
Blaming your bad luck again, are we? Maybe if you didn't push yourself past your
Mano,
limits so much,
todo
your
esto,
illness wouldn't be flaring up all the
toda esta
time.
misión de historia me la he pasado sonriendo, de
Don't
verdad,
you
porque
start. I don't have the energy to argue with you right now.
hace tiempo que no me conmovía tanto por...
Aw, you two clearly care a lot about each other.
Me ha conmovido mucho Furina, en serio.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You mean we never stop arguing with each other?
Ya se van a pelear, ya. Esa cara de Paimon.
So, any plans for the next step?
Una pizza puede ser para
After
todos.
the brilliant performance you put on, the reputation of your troupe is sure to spread through Fontaine like wildfire. You won't have to disband if you don't want to. You could capitalize on the rave reviews and license out the little Oceanit to the bigger theater troupes out there. That would do wonders for your financial situation.
No, we should still disband.
Yeah, it's what we all agreed to.
After all that's happened, I should give you guys some space. But maybe our paths will cross again one day.
No, se van a volver a juntar.
Hey, don't just walk off!
I still want to keep performing, so I might join another troupe. After watching Miss Furina's performance, I think I'm starting to understand our director's infatuation with musicals.
You should do it. It suits you. I'd originally hoped to keep performing too, but I don't know if my health will allow me to.
No, Dolphy.
So now you finally got your priorities in order. I guess I'll hold off until you've properly recovered as well. What about you, Miss Furina? Any future plans?
Well, frankly, I think a return to obscurity is no longer an option for me. I'm sure a slew of consultancy requests will hound me wherever I go until I...
Pero ¿por qué no mejor te conviertes en directora? Así no tendrías que enfrentar esa presión de actuar. En cambio, siendo directora sería mucho mejor.
It's quite all right. No need to apologize. What I meant to say is that this whole experience has shown me that perhaps I'm not as averse to a return to the stage as I previously imagined. Maybe neuvillette was right. Maybe Cleo is the right role for me. I still don't wish to pretend to be someone else, but I do have a desire to express myself. So, maybe the show will go on for me after all.
Haz lo que tú quieras y mientras te haga feliz, sigue haciéndolo.
Time when I was an actress in a masquerade, seeking only to hide the
La
truth.
mascarada de los culpables, sí recuerdo.
But from now on, I want to spend my time learning real stories about real people and how they touch the lives of others around them. I want to watch them blossom and wither, see them refined on the page, retold on the stage, and remembered long into the future. I'm sure this is what captivated director O'Reilly as well.
Sounds like you're ready to stop running from your true calling. The more you get out into the world, the more you'll discover what a fascinating place it is.
La próxima vez te voy a invitar a que me acompañes, sí.
Then it's a deal. If a vision is a gift from the gods, then I should do my best to honor it.
Pero quiero escuchar a ver qué es lo que dicen antes de...
I mean, of course I have some regrets, but...
There'll be plenty of opportunities in the future for us to tell the stories that we want on stage.
Y estoy seguro que el otro men va a regresar. ¿Qué dices, Polo?
I'm just finishing packing up. As soon as I'm done, I've got an interview with the Steambird to get to. Thanks to all your help, the show was more perfect than we ever could have hoped for.
Nah, man.
But
Ustedes fueron las estrellas.
I want to thank you for giving me the chance to finally say farewell to Aurelia.
Aurelia se veía como una muy buena persona. Buraut, ¿qué dice Buraut?
Now that the buzz is worn off, I feel ready to pass out.
¿Qué dice Elaine? Elian?
I feel like I've rekindled the passion I had when I first joined the troupe. It might turn out to be too little, too late for me. But still, this has been the experience of a lifetime.
Oh. Y solamente queda Furina.
It's ironic to think that in my whole time as a god, I could only ever dream of receiving this kind of power. And now that the gods have given me their blessing, it actually feels more like I'm finally able to take my fate in my own hands. Is that how humans feel about it?
Pero ahora tú también eres humana. Y bien, eso ha sido todo por este video. De verdad que me ha conmovido la historia de Furina, de verdad. No me arrepiento de haber puleado por ella. Y de verdad que es una historia bien emotiva. Me ha conmovido. Me ha conmovido mucho todo el sufrimiento que por el cual ella ha pasado 500 años. Y no pensé que me iba a mover una historia así, pero sí, de verdad las emociones. Pero bien, espero que esta aventura les haya gustado. No olviden dejar su like y suscribirse si es que quieren ver más videos así. Y nos estamos viendo en la próxima oportunidad. ¡Chao!
Is this truly what you want?